All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this Valley News Now digital update. In just a few minutes here, we're going to go to a live report from Valley News Live's Courtney Lockie out in Horace for what we learned was a fatal incident earlier today that the Cass County Sheriff's Office responded to. We're going to have the full opening segment from our noon show with all the information from that here in just a little bit. Let's run you through what we know so far. The Cass County Sheriff's Office says that just before 8 a.m. this morning, they were called to 7994 Jacks Way in Horace. That's an apartment building for an unknown disturbance. That's what they classified this as in their press release. Deputies say that while they were there, while they were on the way, they learned that a female was injured and a male had left the scene looking for medical help. When they arrived on scene, life-saving measures were done to the woman, but she was ultimately pronounced dead at the scene. The Sheriff's Office says that they do have someone detained who they believe was on scene when the incident occurred. Our reporter on scene says that it's still very much an active scene at that apartment building in Horace, surrounded by law enforcement and caution tape. Sanford Health says that they were made aware of the situation near their Sanford Horace clinic in that area, put that clinic on lockdown. The clinic has since been reopened. The West Fargo Public School District also sent a message to staff and families at Horace Elementary, Heritage Middle School, and Horace High School, with that being that close to those in the area. The Cass County Sheriff's Office says they're going to be holding a press conference later today regarding this incident. We're going to go to our live report right now from Valley News Live at noon.
Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. I'm Duke Schindler. We'll start with breaking news out of Horace. We've just learned a woman is dead and one person is detained after an incident this morning at an apartment complex. Now, the Sheriff's Office was called to this apartment complex around 8 this morning for an unknown disturbance. The apartment is right behind headquarters and Dairy Queen on the main road in town. As law enforcement headed to the scene, they learned that a woman was hurt and a man had left the scene to seek out medical attention. The woman did not make it. Details are still very limited at this point, as we are very early on in this investigation. And from reports that we've heard, still a very active scene as they've worked to figure out who this woman is, how she died, and how, if anyone else was involved. We plan to get you those answers to those questions at some time later today. We also talked to the sheriff, who couldn't share much at this time and told us his department will have a press conference later today. He's working with people.
Not everyone has been cleared out. We obviously have an active scene here. We have deputies inside the apartment staged strategically in different locations, and we want to make sure that we don't have people coming and going because we don't know everything exactly that happened. And so we're just taking all the extra precautions to make sure that we can investigate everything thoroughly and nothing is jeopardized.
There is one person who has been detained at this point, not arrested. The sheriff tells us they believe that they may know what happened, but we will have, like I said, a press conference later today to bring you an update. Now, nearby businesses and schools went actually into a brief lockdown because of this morning. That has since been lifted, with Sheriff Johners saying it's important to remain vigilant at this time. If you have any information, call the Cass County Sheriff's Office. You can also follow our updates in real time on the VNL News app. Scan the QR code and download it to your device today. And more breaking news for you. We're also able to confirm additional breaking news at this hour. A reported plane crash in Otter Tail County actually didn't happen. Crews from at least 8 departments, including the Minnesota State Patrol Air Rescue Team, were on the way to Star Lake in Otter Tail County after a reported plane crash around 10 this morning. The Otter Tail County Sheriff's Office received a report from a resident on the south side of Star Lake, reporting he saw an airplane go into the water. After an extensive search, no aircraft was found. Now we turn our attention to the forecast, where we now have 2 first alert weather days heading into the weekend, as it's going to turn a little colder with snow in some areas. Let's get the latest details from Summer Schnellbach. Summer.
Good afternoon, and thank you all for joining us. Yes, we have just added Friday to our first alert weather days. We already had Saturday Friday is going to bring that surge of colder air, and then Saturday, that first snow for many this season. So here's what we're alerting you to. Friday will bring some areas of wintry mix and rain in the morning hours, and then late Friday night into Saturday, that chance of snow. The track still favoring North Dakota. We'll talk more about that later, and some light accumulations to our west. But with the colder air, this is Friday morning, 7 o'clock. This white line is the freezing mark, so 32 degrees. And from morning to afternoon, that drops to the south. So we'll likely see temperatures falling Friday afternoon. All areas below freezing Saturday morning and likely remaining below freezing in most areas throughout the day Saturday. Cold Sunday morning, a few close to freezing Sunday afternoon, but then Monday morning expecting some temperatures in the teens and 20s. Temperatures recover though by the time we get to Tuesday. This afternoon expecting 40s, lots of sunshine, a really nice early November day. But coming up, we're going to break down more details on those two Clipper systems that are going to bring those big changes for the weekend.
Better break out those beanies.
It's time, yeah.
Thank you, Summer.
All right, not to cut off our friends in the studio, but we are going to get back on track here. Again, that's the latest from a couple of different breaking news stories that we're working on here. The most pressing one out in Horace, where, again, we're going to run through this information one more time in case you may have missed it. We did just hear from Sheriff Jesse Johnner from the scene of that incident, and we're working on getting live reports from Courtney Lockie out there on the scene as well. So be sure to stay tuned with us here on Valley News Now. But again, just want to run through what we have so far for this tragic incident out in Horace as we await more details from the Cass County Sheriff's Office. Just before 8 a.m. today, they were called to 7994 Jacks Way in Horace. That's an apartment building for an unknown disturbance. Deputies say while there, they learned that a female was injured and a male had left the scene looking for medical help. While they were on scene, life-saving measures were done to the woman, but she was ultimately pronounced dead at the scene. Sheriff's Office says they do have someone detained who they believed was on scene when the incident happened. Our reporter there says that an apartment complex in the area completely surrounded by law enforcement and caution tape. And as Jesse Johnner just told us here on this report, it's still a very active scene working on trying to figure out exactly what happened here. We're expecting more information from the Cass County Sheriff's Office later on today. So be sure to stay tuned right here to Valley News Now or on the air. Again, Valley News Live at noon is going on right now. You can go ahead and flip your TVs to that. We're also going to be on at 4, 5, 6, 9, and 10. So be sure to stay tuned. But for now, for Valley News Now, I'm Devin Fry.